Hello, humanity. You are created by God and loved by your Creator. Let's get started. Okay, so for tonight's topic, I'm not even sure where to begin because it's going to be a ramble, and my voice is already fatigued, which is why I need to drink water because I have been talking to people all day today. All day today. Okay, so here's what's going on. Happy May 2. Um, I'm a little weirded out by it. This is video number 15 in capturing content that I want to later read, write, or speak about. And I'm capturing it specifically as it relates to people who look like me and share values that I share, that I believe or hold true to. And so it's been a little bit of a week. It's been a very intense week, like COVID for the second time. Today I got a negative test, so I'm thankful that I'm moving on, but the fatigue and the tired is definitely there, and me recording at wicked hours in the morning don't really help, but I am committed to capturing this content for myself. So I'm going to refer to some of my notes and we'll talk. Let's see, to start with my gratitude. My gratitude really comes from a place of just trusting that God is good. Abba is a promise keeper and a good father. And the events of this past week for me are just evidence that he sees me, he knows me, he loves me, and I'm important and that I matter to him. So I don't know, for anyone out there who's watching these videos and maybe getting some value out of them, just know that you are seen, you are known, you are heard, you are loved. So don't give up. Like, it's totally worth it. Yes, these are the things that I tell myself. So I'm not telling you because it's great content influencer things to say. It's like it's true. And you'll see how true it is as I go through my week. The other thing that I'm thankful for is that God is the fulfiller of dreams and definitely the Prince of Peace. Life has been a little bit crazy for me right now. I am still seriously disoriented in my own life, yet I know I'm oriented. What's that expression? Oriented times 4. I know my time, I know my name, I know my place. I'm aware of some things. There should be something. There's one more in there that I can't think of. I'll come back to it, but I'm alert and oriented at least times 3. Anyway, I'm gonna kind of go by some of the dates on the calendar and capture big picture. So April 25th, I had a scratchy throat. April 26th, I went to work. And then April 27th, I had a scratchy throat and was actually positive with COVID, but didn't know it, was wearing a mask. It was a bad plan. I'm just going to acknowledge the bad plan that it was because I didn't think I actually had symptoms. I just thought I was dealing with my seasonal sinus stuff. So I wore a mask just trying to be preemptive in case it freaked anybody out and me. And then my coworker freaked me out and she was like, "You better check." So then I went and got a COVID test. It came out back positive. Then I had on the day after that, the April 29th, big red letter day, big day. The 30th, again, a big day. And then on May 1st, coming to a day of rest, which was actually the most hectic, busy day for a Sabbath. So, to go back and capture some details, let's see. Yeah, I had the scratchy throat. I mean, what came on, it really felt like someone had taken broken glass and gave those to me in replacement of my actual vocal folds. And then every time I would go to, speak or anything, it's just like shards, touching each other. Just, oh, it was horrible. The sinus and the sick, I just thought, man alive, I shouldn't have run out and wearing a lightweight shirt with a lightweight sweater on one of those cold days that happened last week where Mother Nature, God bless Michigan, decided to drop the temperature and freeze us out after being all hot and warm. So I thought I had set myself up that way and caused myself a problem, when really what was going on was the fact that my coworker had come to work very safe, wearing a mask and whatnot, when the previous day he had not been, and apparently we're in a spike. But anyway, um, he came in, he was like, "Oh, my roommate," and I was like, "Okay, he's wearing a mask, he's good." Well, I'm also noticing that in my body clock at certain times in my rotation as a woman, as the world turns, that I seem to be vulnerable at some times and season in my life, in my own health and well-being, and I was in a vulnerable window, to say the least. So I think that was part of it. Um, so while all this is going on at the work level, I'm also preparing for leadership training and development courses that I'm planning to lead in the following week. So I'm really busy on the phone, talking to people, setting up appointments, coordinating things. Um, and then I got my COVID positive test, and I was like, oh, I'll just press through. Yeah, I called in today and said, hey, I need to get my act together. So I'm doing that, but I didn't slow down fast enough. Yeah, for all of you, I might be sick, but I'm going to press through, people. Bad plan, bad plan, bad plan. Like, don't do it. It's not really going to serve you well. And it doesn't serve the people on the receiving end of you pressing through. It doesn't work out well for them either. So just something to be mindful of, how quickly the lessons of 2020 and COVID-19 escape us as we're like, it's just a cough, I'll deal. Don't do that. Okay, so, yeah. So the day I go in for the test, April 28th, get a phone call. Actually, I return a phone call and scheduled it with a gal by the name of Teresa, who's got a massage spa in Rochester Hills and uses frequency treatment called Rife. I don't know if anyone's familiar with a Rife machine, but this gal uses this frequency treatment called Rife. And I was like, oh my gosh, I grew up with that. And I met her through a network of entities and people. So anyway, so I have this wonderful conversation with this gal. And in that conversation, long story short, it was a great conversation. I discovered at a whole new level why, as a massage therapist, I want to certainly specifically work with the male frame than anything else. Like I'm trained and I could work on people who are cancer patients. I could do relaxation, I could do therapeutic, just your everyday person who needs to alleviate some tension. But specifically, I want to work with the male frame and well bodies. And she shared with me something that she's noticing among therapists, her therapists, what's going on, and I'm willing to like step into some of these uncomfortable spaces. And so I was reinvigorated and greatly encouraged in my journey. And it was really a gift from God to even have that conversation with this gal, because I knew something in me is being drawn and tailor made for something. I'm just discovering the pieces of it. And part of that really is the importance of wellness. I had a client that I was going to work on, and I was going to push through and just work on that client. And I thought, as a mobile massage therapist, I can't step into somebody's home having compromised my own well-being to help improve hers, and then bring her well-being down as a result of being in her environment sick. Like there are just some things that don't make any sense. And then there are some things that are inappropriate. And then there are some things that are just like morals and ethics. Anyway, I canceled the client, and I'm glad that I did. I did the right thing for myself and for them. And she thanked me for it. And these are those little moments of building in the character and the value of who I am as an entrepreneur, as a business person, as a therapist, that I can actually make that kind of difference with people. And the little decisions I make about how I care for myself. I don't think you guys know that, but that is a sermon that will preach in multiple areas of your lives, my life, but very specifically that one. When you take care of yourself, you really begin to model and train and educate people on how to treat themselves. Yeah, that sermon will preach. I'll go deep on that one another time. Really great day having a conversation with her. The 29th, even bigger deal. I had a doctor's appointment. I've alluded to the fact that I've had a health journey that I've been dealing with that I want to go into detail about. Still not ready to go into detail about it on a public platform, but suffice it to say, 22 years, including the 5 years of being under treatment, has been painful and difficult and frustrating and lonely. Yeah, definitely lonely. And on April 29th, Red Letter Day, as I like to call it, I had a conversation with a physician that's been overseeing my wellness for part of the last 5 years. And she let me know that one of the protocols for my treatment is now complete and that its results are curative. Like, she let me know it's complete, and it's only because my body has actually turned around and responded to the treatment and reset itself. So I kind of feel like God's favorite kid, especially on that day. I cried, just aware that if God does nothing else for me, he's done so much. And I shared that with a couple of girlfriends, and I cried my eyes out on Marco Polo, and I was sobbing. And then 3 minutes later, I recorded another video, and I was like, fine and bubbly. I'm so emotional. I'm such a woman, and I love my emotions. So it was a really beautiful day. I really enjoyed the day. It was really, really great. I also got a swift kick in the pants that day. I am a leader in a personal professional training and development program, and I was getting cleared to lead for one of these events. It took 3 hours, uncovering my inability to show up prepared and ready for things. I know some of you are like, Deb, you not prepared and ready? Yes, me, mostly not prepared and ready. And what I was confronted by is the fact that I'm deceitful and I lie about the fact that I show up to do things well. Like, I've trained and I've accomplished a great deal. It's really authentically who I am. Those things that who I am, what I've accomplished, the measures I've met in life, all me. But somewhere in my heart and in my brain, I tell myself this lie that I'm either not good enough or I'm not okay. And then I proceed to pretend to be all the things that I really am. It's like being a cardboard cutout of oneself or a holographic image where it's very much you. It's just missing the soul of your being. And I check out on people. I check out on myself. I cheat and shortchange myself. And then I wonder why I'm not getting results that I want in life. Anyway, that's what happened on the day of my big red letter day. I also got my, behind handed to me on a silver platter. And I thought, oh my goodness, I am so loved. The disappointment with getting COVID at this time is that May 1st was graduation day, and I missed graduation day. You know what I found out today? I found out today that I also have perfect attendance. Yay me. In light of having COVID and not going to graduation, I mean, the whole kerfuffle of it just feels like, well, la-dee-da. Like, doesn't make any difference. Super anticlimactic, super underwhelming. And I'm recognizing that all of my achievements for me seem to be adding up to one more sheet of paper and more letters I can add to the end of my name. And then I have nothing else to show for it. Anyway, I have a thing about celebrating. I have a dear friend who took me out to ice cream about 3 weeks ago now. And I talked about celebrating. And he's been such a friend. So great this week. He had a trip to Mexico. I was leading a conversation for him on May 1st. I did lead that conversation. It was okay. It didn't go as well as I would like. But I led that conversation. He's like, Deb, we're going to go out and celebrate. You've had this big milestone in your health and well-being. We're definitely going to celebrate. And he knows how anti-celebration I am. I'm like super Like, just, could someone just bring me food and a cake and then leave me alone? I mean, it's terrible. Like, I don't want to be bothered with humanity to celebrate. It occurs it's just more work to do to have a celebration. But yet and still, here I am, massively disappointed that I missed my graduation. And I had perfect attendance, and I'm going to get a perfect attendance gift. And I'm not going to get a picture with Kathy Skubik of Irene's Myomasology Institute because I wasn't there because I had COVID. So that was the 29th. The 30th of April, had another really great conversation with a gal who's a senior leader in the training and development company that I engage with. And she and I had an hour and a half conversation as she was clearing me for the conversation on Sunday. And she shared with me something that my heart really needed to hear. I think I've mentioned before, I've got a mom and a dad who celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary, and dad, among other wonderful things about him, has a bone-on-bone hip that is going to be a demand for a replacement at some point. And this gal that I spoke to shared with me in an hour and a half how great her hip surgery was and how disappointed she was that it wasn't more of a disruption to her life for all the pampering and being tended to of being an invalid in recovery. She recovered really quickly. And she shared that in the research around surgeries, apparently the new hip replacement surgery is apparently the most second successful, procedure in the world, or at least in the US. I don't know if she said the world, but she said it's rated highly for its success outcomes, and it's because they use robotics to perform the procedure. And so what she shared with me, I then got to share with my dad later today when I was like, Dad, you should hear about how, this gal's surgery went. And I shared it with Dad. I said, Dad, listen, I know as soon as you get your hip replaced, you're going to want to like lift a car over your head. Like, that's just what he's going to do. He's like, I'm a mechanic. I'm Superman. He's going to do the thing. And I just let them know what makes it so great is that they take a picture of your hip, all of its dimensions, and then they craft your hip out of whatever materials. I would imagine it could be something similar to like 3D printing, but I don't know what it is. But I got hope in the fact that I've been really terrified about my dad having hip surgery and having it be the one thing that leads to the demise and decline of his health and well-being, and he dies prematurely because of a bad procedure. That's just where my heart and my brain has been going. And so to hear the details of this gal who was like, yeah, I set up my whole house, my whole family, coordinated, scheduled things, went in and had the hip surgery. And the next day they were like, okay, let's see if you can get up. And she literally got up and was just so sad that it wasn't more of a problem because she thought she wanted to stay in the hospital longer to be pampered and treated. And, just, oh, I'm sick. Yeah, she didn't get to do that. And then when she realized she could go home, then she tried to get out of the hospital like she was on a jailbreak, like, get me out of here. So-and-so, come pick me up. And so she got home and her life has been able to resume its activities that she really wanted. And so I'm really encouraged. And again, a God smile, wink, and a gift to my heart to alleviate, the concern and stress I have around Dad having a hip surgery. And then I talked to Dad about it today and I was like, hurry up and have the surgery, Dad, so you can lift a car. It makes him happy. Just my dad's a mechanic by trade. That makes him so freaking happy. Sabbath was by far the busiest day on the calendar. I was nonstop busy. I was in Zoom meetings all day, conversations all day, and then the rant of my life for 2 hours while my sister was decluttering her closet as she's looking to move into tiny house situations, learning to reduce, compact, and minimize her existence. So she's getting rid of stuff. I got to get some of her closet. I'm so freaking excited. She has a great closet, like when it comes to like stuff and clothes and things. So I got a bag full of stuff that I'll try on and pick whether or not I like it later. But for now, I might have some new pieces to add to my speech language pathology wardrobe as a business professional to be super cute, stand out, very professional, and yet fun. So that's kind of exciting. that pretty much recaps the week. Today I got a negative COVID test, which I'm thankful for. But today I've also had several meaningful conversations, conversations with my dad, with my mom. Revisiting some of the conversations and passing with my sister Kirsty. My nephew Jabez and I got to sort of hang out. That kid and his iPad, when he gets it to himself, is so happy. My niece Amari woke me up today, and she was so mad about the fact that she didn't have a bed she could lay on because her brother was on both of them. So, I was woken up by, this weeping and the sadness. Oh, Auntie, I want a bed. Anyway, so funny to me. I will mention in passing, when I got COVID initially, I have been working on a document. I am debating how and when I'm going to share it on this platform. I think one of the things I may have mentioned is that I have been in 12-step recovery for a variety of concerns, hurts, habits, and hangups that have just had my life unworkable, and started addressing those things. It's been about 5 years in that journey, maybe 3 years in that journey. I'm not sure. And so during this week, I actually submitted my finished testimony to share at Celebrate Recovery is the name of the entity. And so to share at the place where I go to my meetings. And I shared it with a few people that I knew would get value out of reading it, but also would be edified by what I had to say and would give me some feedback and critiques on my writing and, that kind of stuff. I shared it with my older sister. I discovered something about myself that I said to her in the conversation, and it came off really harsh, but it's got me evaluating some things about myself. So I drafted the document. I'd been working on it. I got it finished, I think, the last Sunday in April, and sent it out to about 15 different friends, people that I trust with my story. And of course, what I said to them is this information is privileged and confidential. Please, regard it as such. And, I hit send. And I heard back from my older sister. We were planning to go to visit in Texas together. As it looks like right now, I'm going to cancel that trip. And I just reached out to her to ask, are we going to go? Is she not going? Just some turn of events here has her life really full, and blessings, actually some stuff that she wants to fulfill on. She and her husband for their family. And I'm like, why rush to go out of town when you could be here to be fully present to, stuff you've been planning on accomplishing, and really be here to experience all of that, the work of it and the fulfillment of it. And, she's one of the people I sent this document to. And, she started chatting with me about it. And I just felt myself get my back up. I felt myself get a little bit angry and a little bit frustrated. It just arose out of a really awkward place. To be able to write one story, you really do have to be willing to visit some of the skeletons in your closet. And even though you've dealt with the hurt, habit, and the hang up, to expose it publicly really takes something. So even for my sister, who I never talked to her about these things specifically, she had been around my experiences of these, but as I've been dealing with myself, she's not really been in all of those spaces as I've been intentionally, rigorously dealing with myself. And so she was making some comment on my writing and my feed and giving me some feedback. And I realized I don't actually want to talk about this. I don't want to talk about it. It's not because I'm embarrassed. It's not because it's, private or confidential. It's not because, it's 12-step. Listen, people deal with stuff all the time. People find inappropriate ways of dealing with stuff all the time. And that contributes to, 12-step programs and, rehab facilities. It's just what we need in the world when we don't deal well. I think for me, I was just really present to the fact that I'll share my testimony, I think, on this platform in a few weeks or maybe a month or so. But what I think I was present to is that while all that stuff was happening in my life, I had the experience of the immediate family circle or the immediate, the origin family, the family of origin, my family, being both a part of my wins and a part of the challenges. And in some of the more personal relational aspects, family of origin concerns come up. Um, and so there's things I'm not necessarily going to say directly to my family now, because even while I was dealing with it, there wasn't room to say it then. And so when my sister started, sharing what she noticed and saw, I completely shut down because I wrote about it because I didn't want to talk about it. You know, there was no room in the time when all of the chaos for me was going down. And there was a lot going on. I mean, so much. So it's not like it's someone's fault, but I'm noticing I'm guarded. Like when two people decide to get together and have a conversation, they both show up at the same place at the same time to have that conversation. And I feel like in life, I showed up in life dealing with something, available to talk about something and be with something. And I journeyed through all of that in the absence of anyone else showing up, or specifically the people that are family to me showing up. That's how it felt. I'm not saying that's the truth. And then here now that I've written about it and she's reading about it in a time frame that works for her, I feel like, she's coming to the conversation ready to have it, but I've already been here, done that. This is like history. I don't want to talk about it. And I think I'm just discovering, there is a gap of time I need to put in place from when an event happens. And I'm really good about this in other areas of my life. I just didn't think about it with this one, where something that's vulnerable to me that I've held close to the chest surfaces to be available. And then everybody or people either have a response to it or feedback or a comment on it. I don't know how celebrities do it. You show up in life one way and everybody has a judgment about you. Like Will Smith right now. Like I can't imagine how that's going. You have a track record up into a certain point, then you slap Chris Rock, and then the whole trajectory of your image is altered from that one event. So for me, I'm finding myself really confronted about what it's going to mean for me to show up in public spaces, telling my whole story, saying who I am out loud, as if I'm not on a media platform right now doing the very same thing. But it's different when your life is an open book and you begin to share some of those more valuable, precious, held close to the chest, intimate, I guess is the best word, confidential aspects of who you are on a public platform. I'm all for doing that. I'm just noticing for myself, it also will sometimes include appropriately protecting and not disclosing about people around you and how to have that communication such that those people feel honored while they're related to you, but at the same time, you're able to fully say what's there for yourself. I'm not sure all of the people closest to me are ready for me to go public with what I want to say about my own life, simply because they're so closely connected to it. And maybe we haven't dealt with or resolved all the things that need to be said or taken care of so that they feel comfortable about who I'm being out loud. It's not that I'm uncomfortable with it. I just want to take into consideration people have real lives, and social media can be really cruel. The platforms of being out there seen and exposed has not served everybody well. And I want to be of service in sharing who I am, but I also want to be of service and appropriately keeping the confidence and not disclosing on the people that matter the most to me and that I care about, the people that I want to see protected. And I don't know if I can do both. Be responsible for putting myself out there and being responsible for concealing for lack of a better word, I think it's said in the story of Noah where the sons covered their father's nakedness. I don't want anybody inappropriately exposed. So I'm not really sure how I'm going to navigate that. I'm not really sure how I'm going to share my testimony on this platform. I did get feedback on it. It's got some edits and revisions it needs to go through, so I'm excited about that. Had an amazing chat with my sister. This is my baby sister. Ranted for an hour, discovered some things about who I am. I'm such a jerk sometimes, like really a jerk. Self-righteous, full of myself, arrogant, holier than thou, moral high ground individual. It's ugly. Okay. Edits I talked about. Oh, a wonderful conversation with a gal out in San Diego. She's in a leadership training and development course. Had a profound conversation with her. This young lady is going to blow up like fireworks. Like, this girl's brilliant, provided she allows herself to grow. And then I did something really goofy today. Okay, my favorite potato chips are kettle cooked chips, specifically salt and vinegar, by the company Kettle. I demolished this bag of chips today, you guys. It should be embarrassing. It should be, but I have no shame. And maybe at a later date I'll share pictures. But for now, just know I ate chips for breakfast. That's what I did. Okay. There's one more thing I wanted to share. Oh. The rigor of my training and development. I don't think I mentioned the gentleman that I talked to. I call him the Mr. Miyagi of the dojo of possibility and leadership. I think I said someone handed me my rear end today. In my debriefing from these meetings that I held over the weekend, he did my debriefing, took a total hour. Oh my goodness, he came up with something called the poop list. Dude, there's nothing like bringing things that you don't know about yourself that are in your blind spot to the forefront, seeing them in plain paper, like written out, and being like, yeah, now that's what you need to go to work on. You know how many things I found? We found 24 things I need to go to work on. I warned you guys, I'm a jerk. I think that just about covers everything. I have an abbreviation of someone's initials, and I said chat with JS. I just don't know who that is. Let me think about who I talked to today. Oh, I had a good conversation with a friend of mine. I usually have supported him with, a few groceries when he's been down or sick or something. Just a profound Black man. Had a real honest conversation about life, what's going on, shared back and forth. Tremendous contribution. I can't wait to host him on a podcast sometime. It's been a good week. Lots of nuggets of contribution. I think that's everything. I can't think of these initials of who I talked to today. I thought I would remember when I wrote the initials down, and now I have forgotten. This is going to make me batty. Oh well. I was hoping it would come back to me, and it did not. I have been reporting to everybody and updating them, letting them know that I'm no longer COVID negative. Oh, I had someone reach out to me with my resume and wants to know if I want to interview for a position. I should follow up with them, huh? Like maybe have the interview. Not too shabby an idea. There's that. Gosh, I can't think of what these initials are down here for. Who did I talk to? JS. It seems to me I should know who that is. Nope. Can't think of it. Well, if you've gotten any value out of this, including the last 2 minutes where I couldn't remember what I was looking at or the initials of whoever JS is in my life, it's thoroughly going to be embarrassing later. Um, thank you for watching. And if you got something of value or there was something of contribution, definitely appreciate it. I will catch you all in about a week because Lord knows my life is hot and happening. I will look forward to chatting with you at a later date. Bye.